Kuwait, now a shadow of itself, was finally free. Buildings, just piles of concrete and mangled steel. But despite this picture of devastation, the Kuwaitis didn't stop to look around them. Instead, they dwelled on an inner happiness, fueled by a freedom that is no longer in the grips of Saddam Hussein.
Screen pages, computer screen pages.
For Abdul Jabbar Marafi, now was no time to celebrate. He stayed at his radio, the first to pass on the good news to his commander-in-chief.
I sent the news to Sweden. They sent it, they received it on a printer, typed it, and faxed it to Taif, and immediately was sent to His Highness, the Emir of Kuwait. I think that was very good news for them. Yes.
But his job at the radio didn't stop there. There were still few communication links outside the country, and the journalists who just arrived to greet a newly freed Kuwait city called on Abdul's help once more.
I never went out for about 15 days from everybody saw anywhere in the country except myself. I did not see anywhere in the country. I did not go out because after that the press people came. The CBS, CNN, everybody. CNN, CBS, they had their satellite, but the journalists, they did not have any kind of communication.
In fact, a couple of CBS crews were living in their cars and had nothing to eat. So Abdul found them food and an apartment for 20 in a matter of hours. Wayne TV general manager Frank Moore then traveled to Kuwait City on May 4th, both to make this documentary possible and to meet his secret source. Security was still extremely tight, and Frank was among a select few Americans allowed into the country that early. Now, these are pictures taken by Frank with a video recorder. What he saw in Kuwait left him with a deep sense of despair and impressions that will last him a lifetime.
You see what they've done to the country. It used to be green and lush and irrigated and watered, and you see bullet holes all over the place. I picked up, you know, expended rounds of ammunition. I picked up 50 caliber. I picked up mortars that had not been fired. I picked up rockets that hadn't been fired on the road to Basra. I mean, there's ammunition and weapons all over that country.
Abdul also took Frank to the towering oil fires started by the Iraqis, many of which are still burning today. Flaring infernos sending tons of toxic sulfides into the air. It's already being called one of the worst environmental disasters of the century.
The sky is black. If the wind is in the wrong direction in your Kuwait City, you think it's twilight. I mean, it's perfectly cloudless day, and it's just black smoke. It looks like the moon coming through that black smoke.
At a quick glance, it resembles an LA traffic jam, but a closer look reveals it's much more serious than that. This is the road to Basra. Thousands of Iraqi vehicles trying to make their way out of Kuwait were immobilized, leaving a ribbon of destruction never before seen. The only thing seemingly alive here, the graffiti left by American soldiers who took the time to leave their marks along the way. After all of this, we have shown you but a fraction of the immense cleanup that the Kuwaitis face.
They have years, I mean literally years. With the shops that have been burned and gutted, the hotels that have been burned and gutted, they've only just started to bulldoze in and get landmines and booby traps out. I mean, there's a child reported killed almost every day from stepping on a mine someplace. The first major impression is the importance of freedom. And when you hear speeches Memorial Day about World War I and World War II and wars you didn't participate in, and you hear the word freedom and died for freedom and that kind of thing, until you go over and talk to Kuwaitis and hear their individual stories and how they were treated and the terror that they lived in because they weren't free, and how every Kuwaiti family was touched with a death or torture or rape of some kind. There wasn't a Kuwaiti family that wasn't touched. You realize how important being able to go from point A to point B when you want to, and take a job when you want to, and not be stopped and not be beaten and not be harassed, how important freedom is. Freedom is more important than anything. I was never so impressed with what it's like to live in terror. Absolute, literal terror of the barbarism, the traumatic experiences, of the executions, of breaking the door down in your house at 3 o'clock in the morning and taking family members out in the street and killing them, or taking them to the police station and torturing them. And freedom was the thing that, to me, was so precious. And it's something we all in this country have taken for granted for generations. And I came back saying, freedom is even more important than health, because if I'm free and my family's free, I don't have to worry about them being killed.
Moore says few people in Kuwait know all that Abdul Jabbar Marafi did for his country. And for his own security, this modest man would rather keep it that way. Still, to the men who worked with this last voice from Kuwait, he is truly remarkable.
It was Abdul that broke the story that the Iraqis were taking all of the incubators out of hospitals. It was Abdul who broke the story of automobiles being stolen and driven north, retail shops being looted.
Abdul is a hero in the classic sense. He demonstrated great bravery. His exploits were highly admired by everybody.
Looking back at it, Abdul admits he can't believe he wasn't caught, with the reality of his heroic gamble only now just sinking in. In retrospect, Abdul believes that someone from above was guiding him, looking after him, placing blinders on the Iraqis who were looking straight at him, but couldn't see him or hear him transmit his messages every day.
They did not come. I don't know why they did not come. This was something from up and from God. He who protects.
He is the Nathan Hale of his country. He should go down in the Kuwaiti history books.
And actually, if I can link
It's my hope and my firm hope that President Bush will give him a citation, or the whole coalition forces will give him recognition for what he did. He cares so much about Kuwait. He cares so much about humanity and people. He was deeply affected by what he saw and what his family saw. And he is the bravest man I've ever known.